What's up guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Emma if you're new here, and I'd love to talk about all things Peloton cycling and fitness. So be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. I post every single Sunday, and today's video I am so excited. 2 new splits just dropped on the Peloton app this week, and of course I'll be reviewing both of them. There is a 5-day intermediate split by Jermaine Johnson, and the 3-day intermediate split by Jermaine is my all-time favorite split. It's pretty much the only one I repeat, so I'm so excited to try a 5-day split from him. And then a 3-day intermediate Ben Aldis split also dropped, and you know I love Ben too, so I'm excited to take that one. That will be a future video, but I just could not resist diving right into Jermaine's split. So this is a 1-week program, 5 days, 30 minutes a day. The description is maximize your workouts by split training with Jermaine. Increase strength and build muscle in this 1-week program by using heavier weight and targeting specific areas of the body in each workout. Repeat and track your progress. So if you've never done split training on Peloton, I would say it's a bit slower than their typical classes. You can do like as many reps as possible in a time segment, but I would say there is a focus on doing less reps with more weight versus doing more reps with less weight, which I feel like a lot of Peloton classes focus on. I also personally really like the split training programs because they're 1 week, they're meant to be repeated, so if you like it, you can just keep repeating it, and each class will focus on either one or a couple of focus areas. So it really feels like you are targeting those muscles. And since you have, 5 classes in this situation, you get a full body workout by the end of the week. Jermaine is definitely better at planning weight training than I am, so I'm very happy to follow his lead. So today is day 1, Class 1, which is a 30-minute legs and core class by Jermaine, tagged intermediate. The description is the split workout focuses on strengthening your largest muscles while also improving core and lower back stability. So, I see a lot of squats and I see a lot of deadlifts in my future. I'm interested to see what Jermaine brings to this split. I actually just finished retaking his 3-day split this past week, so it's very fresh in my mind. It was just real luck that I had started it, and then I saw that this dropped just a couple days ago, so I'm excited. Let's go hit the mat and knock out class 1. Overall, I liked that class, although Jermaine really threw us a curveball at the end. So we started off and it was very reminiscent of his other split, which no complaints because I like his other split. They weren't the same moves, but I feel like it was very similar vibes. We started off with a 3-minute body weight warm up, and then we kind of got right on into it. Jermaine said to grab medium. I believe he gave the range 10 to 20 pounds, and heavy, where he gave the range 15 to 30 pounds. I grabbed 15 and 20, which I think is probably a little heavy for me. I have lost a lot of my strength since going on vacation for a month and then moving to New York. I feel like the last couple months, I just haven't been doing a lot of strength workouts. But I also think using 10 pounds for legs for me is just way too light. So I just have to start pushing myself. And today was definitely a push, but it didn't feel impossible. Then we got into the first set, which was single leg deadlifts. And we did, I think, 30 seconds on one side, 30 seconds on the other side, and then finished up the set with a dead bug for, I believe, 30 seconds as well. It was pretty short. He said for the deadlifts, aim for 8 to 10 reps. And the dead bug was just as many reps as possible. We started off with our medium weights and then went up to our heavy weights. The medium felt good. The heavy was definitely a push for me, but I'm glad that Jermaine was there to give me that push. And we did that 3 times. Then we got into the second set, which was squats, but they were supposed to be kind of slow squats, although I don't think Jermaine went that slow. And then front lunges, and we did these with our heavy weights. The first time I did it with the medium, and then I bumped up to heavy. And man, oh man, that was definitely a push. 20 pounds in each hand for a squat and front lunge is definitely not easy for me. We just alternated on the front lunges. And then for the core move, we finished off with tabletop crunches. And we did that set as well 3 times. And then we ended with like a quick hollow body hold, but it was literally 20 seconds and you didn't lift up your feet. So the core was very, very manageable in this class, which I appreciate. And Jermaine's whole thing is that he's like, I want these workouts to be simple enough that anyone can do them. And then if you're more advanced, just like take more weight. And I don't want anyone to get discouraged, which I appreciate. And I like his approach as somebody that still doesn't really know what they're doing when they're weightlifting. Sometimes you get in these classes and the instructors are just doing these crazy things, which I know some people like if you're more advanced, but I like these simple moves where we just try to hit different reps and we just go up in weight. So that was a good set as well. I believe each move was 45 seconds, so definitely upping it a little bit. For the squats, we were trying to get 10 to 12 reps, and for the front lunges, 8 on each side, so 16 in total. So definitely had to keep up the pace a little bit. And then we had like 7 minutes of class left, and it is past splits. He's always done like an AMRAP at the end, so I was kind of expecting it. But this was a 5-minute AMRAP, which I was not thrilled about. So we did 6 woodworkers or wood chops, I don't even know what they're called, on either side, and then 12 squat jumps, and we repeated that for 5 minutes, which I'm not a huge fan of the jump squats, but I do feel like when you have like a certain number, you just try to like get through them. And I had to take some breaks, but it was okay. And then the wood chops kind of helped bring my heart rate down because they would go way up with the jump squats. But that was a really hard 5 minutes and really elevated the heart rate. And then we still had 1 more minute where we then could grab either our medium or heavy weights. I grabbed medium at this point and did backward lunges for the last minute. And I just felt like this was a little chaotic. I didn't not enjoy it, but I honestly think I'm biased towards Jermaine now, and I just don't mind when he does stuff like this because I feel like if another instructor tried to pull this, I would not be happy. So just keep in mind there's basically 6 minutes of AMRAP right at the end, and like it's really gets your heart rate up. So I like the class today. I definitely like the beginning more than the end. I didn't think the end was awful though. It like did kind of balance out the class, but I also think that I just like Jermaine so much that I'm overlooking it. So for difficulty, honestly, I feel like it was pretty easy to follow, harder to do. I'd give it like a 7 out of 10. I don't think it was super, super difficult, and you could always go down in weight. Enjoyability, I'd also give it like a 7 out of 10, probably like an 8.5 for the beginning, and then like a 6 at the end because I was not happy doing the AMRAP. But overall, a really great way to start the split, and I'm excited for the rest of the week. It's now the next day, and today is actually Friday, which is always a good day, and we're ready for day 2 recommended class 2, which is 30 minutes chest and triceps, tagged intermediate by Jermaine. The description is grab your weights and join us for this hard-hitting split workout designed to strengthen your chest and back. So I envision a lot of push-ups in my future. Chest and triceps are definitely probably some of my weakest muscles, but if there's anybody I trust to strengthen them, it is Jermaine Johnson. So let's hit the mat and knock out class 2. My arms are straight noodles after taking that class. I definitely haven't taken such a hard arms class in quite some time. So we started off and everything's all good. We had a 3-minute bodyweight warm-up, very typical for Jermaine Johnson. And then he said to grab medium and heavy weights. Medium were 10 to 20, heavy was 15 to 30. I know myself with arms, so I grabbed 10 and 15, the bottom of the requirements. At first I was like, I don't know, this might be a little too easy, but no, it was right. I don't even think I could have gone up to like 12.5 and 17.5. 10 and 15 was definitely a push. And then we just got right on into the first set, which was chest flies on your back with your medium weights, and then push-ups, which he said to try to do on your toes. I kind of did a little compromise. I did a couple on my toes, a couple on my knees. Basically, I kept going on my toes until I couldn't anymore, and then I dropped down to my knees. And I believe we did that set 3 times. There was definitely burnout in that set because you're just going back and forth between these 2 movements. But it wasn't too bad, all things considered, especially because the second set is where he really decided to kill us. It was chest presses with our heavy weights, then skull crushers with our medium weights, and then standing chest flies. And I've actually never done chest flies like this, or not very often. You like lifted the weights out in front of you kind of while keeping your arms bent a little bit. It was almost like lateral raises vibes, but you kept your elbows bent a little bit, I think, to try to get it more in the chest. And we did that 4 times, and my arms and chest were shaking starting like the second round. It was so hard. I don't know what got me so hard, but even when I was doing skull crushers with the medium weights and you have to hold the weights above you, like my whole arm was shaking so much. Definitely an effective but hard workout. I believe we did between 30 and 45 seconds for all the moves, and he did mostly give like rep counts you're supposed to get to, but they were like 12 to 15 and I was hitting like 12, and that was the entire time. I wasn't getting any extra recovery there. We did get a 15-second break in between moves, so there is like a little bit of recovery, but just know you're gonna push yourself during this class. And then there was 5 minutes left and I was like, oh no, there's gonna be another bad AMRAP, and I was right. It started out with overhead extensions. So again, really working the triceps. I mean, this was called a chest and tris class, so I expected it, but it doesn't make it any easier. So we did 10 of those, and then we pushed the weights together on our back and lifted them up like this, which I don't think that is as hard. But with the overhead extensions combined with these, it was just like so killer with no recovery for 5 minutes. I definitely had to take some breaks. I was really struggling towards the end, but you know, we did it. And just because I've taken JJ's other split like last week, I know that his AMRAPs and EMOMs at the end are like way easier, and I feel like people told him that and maybe like we're like, oh, it's too easy. So now he's like really bringing the force on these AMRAPs at the end because they're so killer. But overall, it was a good workout, and compared to his 3-day split, I'm really enjoying it because I feel like, yeah, we just didn't have the time in a 3-day split to just have a day dedicated to tris and chest. So this was a really good workout, and it's definitely something that I need to work on. So it was an enjoyable class, even though it was a hard class. Difficulty, honestly, I'd give it like a 9 out of 10. Nothing gets your heart rate crazy high, but I find that true for most arm workouts. But I was just shaking so much, and I was on the lowest weights that he suggested. Enjoyability, maybe like a 6 out of 10 during the class, and then an 8 out of 10 after the class, where I'm like, wow, I did that, and it's like super satisfying that I, you know, completed the class and did the best I could. But man, just know you're gonna work hard during the class. It is now Sunday morning. Yesterday I took a rest day per recommendation of this program, and I usually take rest days on the weekends anyway, so I took a full recovery day. I was not sore after day 1 of the split at all, but after day 2 yesterday, I was feeling it in my chest and tris, so I'm definitely glad that JJ programmed a rest day yesterday. I needed it. But we're back at it, ready to go for class 3, day 4 recommended, which is 30 minutes back and biceps. And the description is, grab your weights and get ready for this upper body split workout focused on strengthening your back and biceps. I'm okay with my back. I really like doing bicep curls, so I think it'll be a fun class, but I just know that it's gonna be a hard one. So let's go hit the mat and knock out class 3. I did enjoy that class, a little easier than the chest and tris class, just because the chest and tris was very hard, but JJ still brought the heat today. My favorite part was there wasn't a long AMRAP at the end, but he did make us work hard during the normal class, and it was structured like his other classes, but he did mix it up just a little bit. So we had a 2-minute bodyweight warm up. We usually have 3, so we needed all the time to just get right on into it. And we did 2 different sets. JJ said to grab medium and heavy weights. Medium, he said 10 to 20, heavy 15 to 30. I grabbed 10 and 15. I knew that I probably wouldn't be able to go up to 20 for anything. And I think that I actually really would benefit from a 12.5 pound weight, but my gym just doesn't have them. So it was a little bit of a struggle today finding the correct weights. The first set we first did with our medium weights and then it graduated to heavy weights. And he also structured it a little bit differently. So instead of doing like the same amount of time over and over again, which is what we usually do, he added like a little more reps each time, but also gave us a little more time each time. So the first time we just did like as many reps as possible, but then the second, third, and fourth, I believe we went 10, 12, 14 reps. And then he gave us like maybe 30 seconds, 40 seconds, 45 seconds. So although you were doing more reps, you had more time, which I thought was an interesting way to structure it. And I kind of liked it. It was fun to push yourself a little bit harder, but also get more time. So it is possible to push yourself harder. The first set, we first did bent over rows, and we did a lot of different bent over rows in this class. But in the first set, we did wide grip bent over rows, then bicep curls, and then finished up with some standing chest flies. I'm not sure if I got the form completely right on those. It was a little hard to tell. In the first set, we did all medium weights, but then in the following sets, we did heavy weights for the bent over rows and the bicep curls. For the bent over rows, the heavy weights were completely fine with me. Like it was a push, it was the right weight, but it wasn't impossible. But the bicep curls, I was not hitting the rep counts with the 15 pounds. 15 pounds of bicep curls is a really big push for me, especially since I have lost a lot of my strength. So that was a little bit of a struggle. I bumped down to medium weights, I believe in the middle of the third set, because I was just like dying and I was doing very few while maintaining good form. So that was a little hard, but it was a good push. And then the second set, we just did normal time-based, not increasing reps. And we started off with bent over rows again, where we just did one arm at a time and then we switched to the other side. We were in a neutral grip this time, and it was interesting because he said to just use medium weights the whole time, but I bumped up to heavy because 10 pounds is not a challenge for me. Like 15 pounds feels good for that. And then after that, we did hammer curls. While lifting one foot, we would do the opposite arm. So that helps with like keeping form. He's done that in other classes before. And it was interesting there because he said to use heavy weights, but that's way too hard for me. I tried it and then I had to bump down to medium weights. So it was eye-opening how sometimes I was like bumping up on weights and sometimes I was bumping down. Basically, my back is stronger than my biceps is what this class highlights, because I could always go heavier on the back and lighter on the biceps. And then we finished with another bent over row. I forget what he called it, but your arms were like inverted out and you were bending them like this. So that was an interesting move. I haven't done that a ton. He said to use heavy. I was using heavy. That was all fine. And that was the second set. And by the time we finished that, these were pretty long sets. We did the first one 4 times and the second one 3 times. We only had like 3 minutes of class left. So I'm like, yay, no super hard AMRAP. And to finish off, we did 3 rounds of renegade rows in a plank position. I used my medium weights. Heavy weights would have been a really big push for that. And we had 30 seconds on, 15 seconds off. I really like that finisher. I feel like it was effective without being like a 5-minute AMRAP. 2 thumbs up to that. So hopefully we see that more in the last 2 split classes, although we'll see. I feel like the long AMRAPs might come back. But enjoyability, I thought today's class was very straightforward. We really got in there, did the work, and I'd give it like an 8 out of 10 for enjoyability. I liked that there was no long AMRAP at the end. I liked the extra pushing reps with more time. Just felt like it was a very well-structured class. We got in there, did the work, got out. Difficulty, it was still difficult in my opinion. I'd give it like an 8 out of 10 for difficulty. We were really pushing it. Definitely my arms were not shaking as much as the chest and tries class, but my heart rate was still elevated. I feel like back work kind of gets my heart rate more up. And yeah, it was still a really, really effective workout. So good class today and a good midpoint to the split program. It's now the next day. It's Monday morning and it's a very gloomy Monday morning, but we're going to start off the morning strong with class 4 of this split, which is 30 minutes, legs and shoulders. The description is, join us on the mat for this upper and lower body split workout focused on strengthening your legs and shoulders. And I'm usually not a super big fan of when it's lower body and upper body. I like one focus area. So I'm interested to see what today is like. If there's anyone who can make me like it, JJ's the person. So let's hit the mat and knock out class 4. I just thought that class was okay, but I pretty much knew going into it, I just don't like legs and upper body at the same time. He did a pretty good job with it, but for me, my legs are stronger than my shoulders. So with the selection of weights, I was going really, really heavy on the shoulders and pretty light on the legs. And I could have grabbed heavier weights too, but with the way that it flows, it's hard to like constantly be switching weights. So he said to grab medium and heavy. I grabbed 10 and 15 because I just knew that 15 and 20 would be like way too heavy for my shoulders, but 15 and 20 is typically what I grab when it is just leg day. And we did a quick 3-minute body weight warm up, no complaints there. There were actually 3 sets in this class. The first set we did with medium weights the whole time. And at first I was like, I don't know if this is going to be too light because it was 10 pounds and that's pretty light for leg movements. But honestly, I was feeling it at the end. I feel like JJ's substitution for like heavier weight on the legs is just to try to do more reps, which is not my favorite, but at least it still made it more challenging. So the first set was reverse lunges with your weights racked up, and then going directly into an overhead press, no rest. So we did like 40 seconds of the reverse lunges and then 40 seconds of the shoulder presses with no rest. And then we finished the set off with a lateral lunge for 40 seconds, also with the medium weights. So definitely the leg work was pretty light. Like I never reach for 10 pounds when I do legs, but racking them up on your shoulders and then doing the shoulder presses, it still felt like a pretty good set workout. It was a little bit easier, but then the second set was killer. So I could see we were going up to that. For the second set, JJ said to use heavy weights the whole time, and it was only 2 moves. It was squats, and then on our knees, wide grip shoulder presses with heavy weights, 15 pounds. That is quite the push for me. And then 15 pounds for squats is basically not that hard. Like I would usually do 20 to push. So squats was almost like the recovery, and then the overhead shoulder presses were just so hard. We did this 4 times. The first 2 times I did the heavy weights for the shoulder presses, but the second 2 times I went down to 10 pounds because I was just dying. And I do like that challenge. I just feel like the leg portion almost felt like recovery to me. And I don't think that was like the goal of this set, but that's what happens when you mix upper body and lower body with me. And maybe that's something I need to work on, make my upper body stronger. But for now, it's not my favorite to mix them. And then we finished off with one more set that was just 2 moves, which were deadlifts and then lateral raises. We did the deadlifts with our heavies, so 15. I would typically again do 20, but I just didn't have the 20 pounds next to me. I honestly probably should have went and got them. But the substitution was we were trying to do 10 to 12 within 40 seconds, which is a pretty quick rep pace for deadlifts. At least for me, I felt like I was going pretty fast to hit the 12. And then the lateral raises, we went down to our medium weight, so 10 pounds. That's the right weight for me. I like that set, no real complaints. 4 times and it was done. And then we had a minute left, so we did 45 seconds of jump squats, which jump squats, not my favorite. But thankfully, it was only 45 seconds in a non-repeating set, so I can't hate him too much for working those in. I know they are a good workout, and they did really get the heart rate up at the end, but I am glad that we only did 45 seconds of them. Overall, it was not a bad class. Like, I wasn't having a bad time during it. I just feel like because of my discrepancy between upper body and lower body, I was struggling to, like, use the correct weights, and the leg portion, I felt like I could push harder if I was just doing legs. And the shoulder portion, I feel like I was pushing really, really hard. So, I don't know, difficulty, I would give like a 7 out of 10. The shoulder parts were really difficult for me, but then the leg parts were really easy for me. So, kind of a toss up there. Enjoyability, maybe like a 6.5 out of 10. Probably my least favorite class in this program so far, but nothing really that JJ could have done besides just not make a shoulder and legs class. And I know some people like full body workouts, so I can't really blame him for working this one in, but not my favorite. It is now 2 days later. I was surprisingly not sore yesterday from class 4. I thought I would feel it in my shoulders more, but I'm never complaining about not being sore. A rest day was still programmed into the schedule. So now we're back for day 7, class 5, last day of the split. It is a 30-minute chest and back day, and the description is grab your weights and join us for an upper body workout focused on strengthening your chest and back. I feel very middle of the road for chest and back, so we'll see what JJ can bring, and I'm excited to wrap up this split program. So let's hit the mat and knock out the last class. I liked that class. I didn't think it was anything like fantastic, never seen before, but it got the job done. It worked out my chest and back. I feel very okay with chest and back workouts, and then I feel like I felt very okay about this one as well. I guess the structure was nice. It was pretty similar to his other classes. Started off 3-minute warm-up. He said to grab medium and heavy weights. Grab 10 and 15. Those are definitely the right weights for me. The first set was a push. We used our heavy weights the first time and we did 4 moves. We started out with supinated rows, which is the ones where your arms are turned out. Then we went down on our backs and did neutral grip chest presses with our feet on the ground. Then we got back up and did wide grip bent over rows. And then we got back on our backs with our feet up in tabletop and did wide grip chest presses. So definitely a lot of like getting up, going down, but it was structured well in my opinion because you were doing a lot of rows, but in between you're doing chest presses. So you're just going like chest back. And I thought that was a very effective workout, and it took up a large chunk of the class because we did it 3 times, 40 seconds for each move. But it was a good set. And then set number 2 was a little bit simpler. We did 8 to 10 push-ups. And I was proud of myself because I didn't do all 10 on my toes, but I did like 6 to 7 each round on my toes. And usually I can only do like 3 on my toes. So we're seeing a little bit of push-up improvement. And then we stood up with our medium weights and did bent over rows, but only on one side, with the other side being held up at our side. So like in an active position. And JJ is like, this should almost feel like burnout from a plank, except it's in your back where you're holding it for so long. And we did one side and then we just directly transitioned into the other side. And I could feel the burnout. I was a little worried that 10 pounds would be too light, but I think that was actually the right amount of weight because it's harder than it sounds. And then we held on to our medium weights for our 4-minute AMRAP finisher, which not my favorite, but at least it was only 4 minutes and not 5 minutes, I guess. And we did standing flies, so bringing the weights out in front of us, and then reverse flies, and 8 of each, and we just kept going for the 4 minutes. Felt a lot of burnout from that AMRAP. It was honestly not like my least favorite AMRAP. I'm just not a huge fan of like such long AMRAPs, but we did it, and then the class was over, and with that, the split program is over. So I did enjoy this split program more than the average split program, in my opinion. It's probably my favorite 5-day split. But for me, I prefer the 3-day splits. And I feel like I can really see it since there's a 3-day and a 5-day split from JJ. I don't think that this one was bad in any means. And if you like 5-day splits, I would recommend. I just think for me and like my workout schedule, 5 days a week of 30-minute strength is quite the commitment. I do a lot of running and other cardio, and it's good to split them and like some days just do the strength. I know that, but I feel like it's hard for me to have a good running day on days that I have these strength classes because they're hard. So it kind of doesn't balance my schedule well. And then I just like the more basic classes. In the 3-day split program with JJ, you just do a push day, a pull day, and a leg day, and you're done. That's it. Well, this has like a bunch of different pairings, which I don't dislike, but for example, today, like we've done chest work before and back work, so I feel like it's getting a little bit repetitive. And I just like these simpler 3-day split programs more. That being said, this was a great 5-day split. I possibly would take it again if I ever want to start upping my strength training more. And I think that JJ is really lively. He keeps the class moving. With a 30-minute class, I feel like it's really easy for the class to drag. And I don't feel like his classes ever dragged, besides maybe during the AMRAPs. I wasn't a huge fan of the long AMRAPs at the end. But let me know if you've taken this split, if so, what you think, and what you think of Ben Aldis's 3-day split if you've taken it yet. That will be up next. I'm very, very excited to try that one out as well. But this one didn't disappoint, and I love when there's new split programs. I hope Peloton keeps coming out with more from different instructors. Honestly, I'd love to see more from JJ just to have even more content from him, because I really do like the way that he structures his split classes. I hope you guys are staying safe, having an awesome week, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!